Hey guys, so it's been a while. Sorry. Life is still crazy, but it's getting better soon, I guess. I keep saying that, but it never really does it? When my exams are over, it should get better. I think. Anyway, a really long time ago, I promised that I would make a video about how I deal with classrooms. And I've actually been meaning to do that for a very long time. I just never really get around to doing it. But it's kind of important, because lots of kids with Asperger's go to school, or try to, and one of the things that make it really hard is being in a classroom. Not even necessarily just the social part, but the part itself of being in a classroom with all the sensory environments and the teacher, how to deal with them, what to tell, what not to tell, etc. So I have a very specific way of dealing with my school, and obviously I go to a certain kind of classes at a particular level, and I only have one class at a time, so I only have to deal with one or two teachers at any given time. So that makes it easier for me to do it that way. Of course, in the I guess high school and stuff like that, you can't really do it that way. I don't know. Obviously, my strategies are completely designed to deal with the Danish school system, because that's what I'm in. And so all of this won't apply to your school system. Some of it might, and I hope that my strategies can give you some inspiration for how to deal with the school system that you're in. So yeah, like I said, I only have one class at a time, one subject at a time, I should say. And usually I take a class over either a year or half a year. And the first day is always hell, because you can't really get to the teacher before class starts, so you have to get through the introduction bit. And the introduction bit in Danish schools is even worse, because, well, there's the traditional one where you just pretty much go around the classroom and one-on-one, or no, that's one person at a time, sorry, says what's their name, how old are they, why are they there, if it's a particular class. Obviously, if it's a whole education that's wrapped up in a package, then everybody knows what you're doing there. But, you know, just every person sort of introduces themselves one by one. And then some teachers have developed an even worse way to do it. This way, they tell you to turn to the person next to you, and then you have to talk to them, and then you have to stand up in front of the class and introduce that person, not yourself, the person that you talk to. And for me, that's worse. It probably won't be worse for all of you, but for me, it's oh God, I hate it. First of all, I don't really want to talk to the person next to me. I'm there to be in school. I'm not there to get to know anyone or make friends or whatever. I don't care. I just want to learn and go home. Because mixing it all together, the school and the social stuff, kind of makes all of it impossible for me. I have to do one or the other. I can't do both. So this way, I have to somehow get through this 5 or 10 minute talk with the person next to me without making them hate me. And then I have to remember the stuff they say, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because you're afraid of, what if I don't remember something correctly? So you end up writing it all down in a sort of note-taking manner and then reading it to the class instead, and it's just not good. But I've learned that I simply have to get through that bit, because at that point it's impossible to say, no, I don't want to do this. So you just have to do it and put up with it. Even though it's stupid, and it is. So, there, I said it. After the introduction round, the teacher usually says, let's take 5. And that's the point where this whole thing actually starts. I should probably make a thing where I tell people to skip to this part if they want to skip all the useless stuff. Sorry. Okay, so the teacher says take 5. Everyone takes 5 minutes to either go have a smoke or go to the bathroom or whatever they want to do. Me, I go talk to the teacher. Because this is the point where I have to establish pretty much if I have to change classes, if I need a new teacher or not. Because this is the conversation that will determine the whole semester, the whole class, the whole subject for me. I go to the teacher and I ask them if they have a few minutes to have a conversation with me. And they usually say yes. I actually don't think I've ever tried them saying no. They just sort of go with it. But you have to be polite about it. So, polite and casual at the same time. Sort of like, hey, can I talk to you for a little bit? And that's cool. So then I say, hi, I'm Maya. I have Asperger's syndrome, and I have an attention disorder, and I have anxiety and depression, which makes for a really bad combination. I'm going to do my best in every class, in every day that I'm here. I'm going to do my best, but there are some difficulties for me with being in a classroom. First of all, before class starts, I show up early for the first day, and then I sort of go around the classroom and I try to figure out where my seat has to be. And I figured out that there are 2 options, basically. See, I have to be on the first row, because that way I'm close to the teacher, and I'm as far away from as many other students as I can be. Also, I have to be on the end of a row. I can't have 2 people sitting next to me. If I have one here and one here, then I get sort of claustrophobic about it. I can't have it. So I can have one here or one here, but not both. So I need to be on some end. And then I have to figure out where, according to where the windows are and where the door is, where my seat is going to be. But then I have to tell the teacher, I need to have that seat, because if I don't have that seat, then the sensory disturbances from people going in and out of the door, they do that in Denmark. It's annoying. And the sounds from the street outside the windows and the other students and everything is just going to make it impossible for me to concentrate during class. And I really want to be able to focus, so I need that seat. And I'm sorry if that's a problem, but I think it'll make everything much easier for me, and I don't really want to be a problem in your class. So please work with me on that. And so then I've gotten the seat down, and I've explained a little bit about sensory disturbances, and just wrapped that up. Cool. Got the seat. After that, I have to tell them that I'm not going to be doing group work much. I'm going to try the days that I feel good, the days that I have energy for it. I will try. And I really make an effort. But Mostly it's not good. And there's so much group work in the Danish school system. It's insane. They even have exam forms where you have to do group work. A written exam form, actually, where you have to do group work. And then you have to do work by yourself. And, yeah. So, I have to explain to them that once I find one person in this class that I like and that likes me, then I can do all group work with that person. I don't care if there are 4, 5, 6 people in every other group, but either I'm by myself or I'm with one person that I like, because if it gets beyond that point, I really can't function in the situation. I really try the days that I feel like I can try, but on the bad days, I need one person to be my support in the classroom or to just be left alone. And that's how group work has to be with me. And I realize, and I've told teachers this, that it sucks, that it is this way with me, but I can't do anything about it other than practice the days that I have the energy for it. So, yeah. So that's the seat and the group work. And then there's one more thing, which is my absence and homework. It's sort of wrapped all into one, those two things, because it really comes back to the same thing, stress levels. I basically tell the teacher that I'm going to have at least probably about 20% absence. And I know that the teacher is not a fan of this, and I'm not a fan of it either. But it gets worse than that, because the pattern in my absence really looks like I'm skipping school, because it's one day here, one day there. It's not really even... It doesn't matter if I have 2 days of school a week or 5. My pattern is always going to be a little bit here and there. It's not going to be 1 week where I'm just gone. I don't work like that, because my absence isn't about illness. It's about keeping my stress level down. And I will stress this to the teacher as well. I will tell them, I want you to know that I know that my pattern in absence can look like I'm skipping school, but that's just not the case. I have a very low stress tolerance level, and I have to keep it down. Because if I don't keep it down, then I end up being gone for 1, 2, or 3 weeks at a time. I develop depression, thoughts of suicide. I end up having to just pretty much leave the class and not take the exam. And I don't want that to happen, because I really want to do well in school. I really want to complete it. And I can do that if I take 1 day here and there to keep my stress levels down. The same thing kind of applies to homework, because I only do the most necessary homework. Written stuff, I will do that because I have to. But I don't read for classes. However, when I'm there, I keep up. And I listen, I pay attention, and I am 100% there. Even if it looks like I'm not. Because sometimes I will doodle, or I'll have something that I can sit and cut up with scissors during class, and it looks like I'm not paying attention, but it actually helps me to focus more on what the teacher's doing rather than the sensory disturbances around me. So I look like I'm the most bored person there, and sometimes I am, but I'm paying attention. And then after all of this seat, homework, all of this is all wrapped up in this conversation, I tell them that I will complete, I will take the exam, and I will do as well as I possibly can. And it used to be that this promise didn't hold much, but I now have a pretty good grade point average. Our highest grade is 12. There's only 7 grades that you can get, actually, but the highest grade is a 12 for some reason. They say it's equivalent to an A, but with the exam form, I'm not sure if it's actually more than that, because our exam forms don't really have much to do with what you learned in class as much as how you're able to present it. So it's kind of weird. You have to know your stuff, but then you also have to be able to present it confidently and structured, and a whole bunch of things play into what grade you're going to get, especially if it's not written, and most of our exams aren't. So I have a pretty high GPA. I have 11.8 at this time. So when I tell them that that's my GPA, they pretty much chill, because it can't get any better, really. It's almost impossible to get a 12 in everything. But even if the promise that you're going to do as well as you can doesn't hold, that you're going to get a B or an A, it's still the best promise that you can make, because it's not telling them that you're going to be perfect. It's not telling them what grade you're going for. You're just saying, I'm going to do as well as I can in everything that I do. So you don't promise to be perfect. You don't promise to exceed your own capabilities, whether it has to do with the actual subject, or if it has to do with your attendance, or anything really. You've only promised that you will do it as well as you can. So you're going to push yourself just hard enough, but not so hard that you fall off the edge. And that's the only thing that I promise my teachers. But having had this conversation with them at the beginning of the semester, they're usually my ally from that point. They are my ally in the classroom, and that's so important to me, because if the teacher is not on my side, then I won't be able to complete the class. I will not be able to go through the whole semester or the whole year and take my exam if the teacher's not on my side. So I need them to be. Of course, there are no guarantees, and sometimes you're going to run into teachers that just don't get it, or that get it so little that you actually have to find some way to change to a different class. However, I've not actually experienced that myself bad enough that I had to change the class. I've experienced them not really getting it, and never really getting it, but I've also experienced that the teacher just pays attention and listens and is there for me through the whole thing, and those classes turn out to be just amazing. So I've gotten down to sort of key elements of this conversation going well, and I also wrote most of this, or all of it maybe, on a blog on Wrong Planet. But just so you hear them, the key elements that I've sort of isolated and that I think is what this conversation is all about, from my side of course, is being polite. Not overly polite, not like you're talking to a queen or a king, but just being polite, not being arrogant about it, and you know, just talking to them like you respect them and you respect their opinion. make it all seem like a request, even though it's not. But it's a request that will make the whole thing easier both for you and for the teacher, because by them cooperating with you in this, you become much less of a problem in the classroom. Or none, really. The second is be exact about both the difficulties that you have in the classroom and the solutions to those problems. Of course, if you don't have the solutions yet, then you have to be honest about that and tell them, I don't really know how to solve these problems, but I'm working on it, and I really hope that you will work on it with me, because I don't want to be a problem in the classroom. I don't want to be a problem at all, really, and I want to do well. Make the conversation short. I know it's not really in this video, but it boils down quite a lot when you actually have the conversation itself. I do have plans to make a video of how I do it, but I need other people to help me with that video. So I don't know when it's actually going to come true, making that video and uploading it and all of that. Hopefully soonish. So, but the whole conversation shouldn't last more than about 5 minutes. So maybe it's actually longer than that, but it feels like 5 minutes when I do it, so I don't actually know. And the last thing is only give the necessary information, because you don't want to give them a lecture about what autism is or what attention disorders or whatever else that you have. You don't want to give them a lecture about it. Only the very important points, because, and this is key, you can always have more conversations at a later time. You can always, at some point, whenever there's a break, go, by the way, I just need to tell you this and this and that. So several short conversations are better than one really long one. I don't know why. I don't, but it's just how they seem to prefer it. So yeah, stay focused on what you need, on what they need to know, really, in order to make your experience in the classroom go as smoothly as possible. And yeah, of course, like I said in the beginning of the video, this is tailored to my school system, and tailored to my problems in the classroom. And your problems might be very, very different. Your school system might be very different, but I hope that this inspires you just a little bit to how you can approach the teacher about becoming your ally in the situation. And if you're young and you have really awesome parents and you think they might be better at using this for inspiration, try showing them the video, so you can talk about it together and come up with some solutions, some ideas. And yeah. Of course, the whole premise of this video is that you can let the teacher know. And I really think that that's really important for your teacher to know, because otherwise they have no reason to go along with a whole bunch of weird things. They have no reason to accept a high percentage in your absence, or a strange, strong aversion to group work, for example. Unless they have, unless there's a proper logical reason for them to accept these things about you. And you really, really do need the teacher to be your ally. I also think it's important to have one friend, but you really only need one. And even if you don't have one, you can still make it through the whole situation if your teacher is just on your side. So getting them on your side is the most important thing to do, and if they're not on your side, I'm sorry, either that's gonna have to wait for another video, or I don't know. I've never really had teachers be against me, especially not after I've grown up a little bit and been able to have this conversation. I think they might have been if I didn't have this conversation with them the first day, though. So, yeah. God, I'm sorry this video is so long. I find it hard to shorten it down when I have to explain everything so much. But I hope that it's useful at least, and yeah. I hope it won't be so long before I post a new one. Sorry. Be nice to each other, be happy, smile a lot, it helps. And, yeah. Have lots and lots of nice days until next time. And then keep having nice days, because I suck at this part. See you. Bye.